Long way, get this shit a long way, this shit a long way. Long way, hit the long way, 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 shit, long way, 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 shit a long way. Gotta get the shit a long way, get the shit a long way, finish rich, yeah. Gotta get the shit a long way, get the shit a long way. She don't really understand, man. Gotta know what she don't really understand, man. Gotta get a meal, but she don't understand. She be trippin' every day, she be trippin' every way. But I gotta get this shit a long way, yeah. Tryna get money every single way, tryna get money every single day, yeah. Get money every single way, every day. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. I'm feeling like we be a new slave. No, we gotta finish rich. No, we gotta finish rich. Got a new bitch, she don't understand rich. She don't understand, she's gotta get rich. She don't understand, sometimes we gotta hit lit. No, we ain't hit lit. Tryna get the long way, yeah. Tryna get this shit the long way, yeah. Cause you tryna wrap up a entree, yeah. Told you the other day that did my phone strong. We gon' shoot the long way, we gon' get the long way, yeah. Yeah, get the shit the long way. My bitch be trippin' back and forth like a phone way. My name is Tori, I ain't playing games, so I'm done talking. Yesterday she told me that she about to leave, man. I said, fuck it, bitch, we gonna get some money. I said, fuck it, bitch, I'm about to get some money. So what I do today, I went and got some money, yeah. Cause we gon' get this shit the long way, we gon' get shit the long way, yeah. Back and forth like the pong way, yeah. Man, I'ma get this shit the long way, get this shit the long way. Just the only way today, because they go with shit's crazy. You gotta wear a mask, we the new slaves, and we be wearing this shit like every day. We be okay, we gon' be okay, they gon' be okay, they gon' be okay, for yeah. So we gon' get this shit the long way, 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 yeah, we get this shit the long way, yeah. Cause we gon' be okay, we gon' be okay, yeah, we gon' get the long way, yeah.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to another edition of Savings Minus Debt. I'm your host, LJ, the founder of SMD. You know, real quick, you know why I love that intro so much, right? And this is important for you guys, and this is going to lead into this is going to be the segue into why I'm here, what I do, blah, 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 right? But I love the intro so much because with the money that falls, this would be a good idea. This would be a good task for many of you. The money that falls during that video, find out the origin of that money, where country is it from, and find out if each one of those countries are capitalist. Okay, see if all that money that falls, see if it's capitalist. And the reason why I'm saying that is because that leads the segue into what I do. I've discovered that capitalism is psychological. I'm gonna just get straight to the point. I don't really feel like dilly-dallying about it anymore. I've discovered that capitalism is psychological, right? So what that means is this. Okay, in order for psychological capitalism to work, the majority must be in debt and not know they're in debt. And if you're in debt, no currency exists for you. So the currency that is represented in each capitalist country really doesn't matter. It's just say, hey, when you come here to this country, this is the paper that we use as money here. Okay, cool. Are you capitalist? Yeah, I don't care. All right, I just use your money. Because it doesn't matter. As long as it's capitalist, if it's capitalist, that means psychological capitalism exists as well, because they go hand in hand. That's why I love that intro so much, because it might be all the money that's falling, each one of those countries might be capitalist, which is just, that intro just proves my point even more. What's up, Nick Omanike? Now, by Now, if you come in here later to the show and then you hear me talk about psychological capitalism, 9 times out of 10, you've never heard anybody say that capitalism is psychological capitalism in your entire life. And I understand that. Okay, I get it. I totally get it. But it doesn't matter. It exists. I promise you, psychological capitalism exists. So if you're like, "Oh, what's he talking about?" Remember, everything I'm saying, now this is a very important part for you to understand why I'm here to show you something. I'm not here to convince you of anything, okay? Everything I say, I can mathematically prove to be true on a calculator, okay? And since math is never wrong, if you disagree, because I always agree with math, and math is never wrong. If you disagree with me, you disagree with math. And if you disagree with math, by default, that makes you wrong because math is never wrong. Do you understand? That's how it works. Now, once you understand this, once you understand capitalism is psychological, you at that moment you own yourself. Okay, you know this. Oh, that's how you see psychological cap. You got to own yourself first. You got to own yourself first, and then you can see it. But until you own yourself, you'll never see it because it's against the listen. It's against the laws of mathematics for you to see and hear what I'm talking about. If you don't own yourself first, if you don't own yourself first, you will never ever know what I'm talking about. Even though I'm speaking English using the same calculator as you. You understand? That's how it works. Now, if you start my earlier videos to where I'm at today, you will clearly see that there's a difference. All those videos before these, I didn't ha- I'm almost at 1,000 videos. I didn't really understand capitalism was psychological until my last like recent 100 videos, maybe 50 or something like that, almost 1,000. And I'm just now discovering the answer. So I'm like you stepping, say like you remember the show Star Trek where they can beam down the planets and stuff like that. Imagine standing on one of those teleports like Star Trek. Now remember, your video of movies. Remember, movies are like they do things that are physically impossible. You cannot teleport another person into a different planet or whatever, right? That's impossible. Okay, so they only can mean psychological. So imagine you coming to me, I step you on the teleport, and I will teleport you ahead of millions and billions of people financial with financial knowledge immediately. I'll teleport you right to the front. That's what I do. And then once you understand that, you own yourself. Once you own yourself, that's it. You will understand that everything and anything is possible. Once you own yourself, you take a step back. Oh yeah, it is psychological. Okay. So you now understand that no currency in any form or any shape exists for debt slaves. None. Zero. None. Paper, gold, silver, crypto bytes, whatever. Hey, all of that doesn't exist for debt slaves. That's against the hey, listen, it's against the laws of mathematics for debt slaves to own any type of currency. That's against the laws of mathematics. Nobody can break the laws of mathematics. Nobody. Those laws can only be broken uh, hmm, psychologically, I guess you can say that. Even though the whole thing is psychological. Sup, Omanike? This is where you'll live. You'll live in a whole different listen, debt slaves have no idea they don't own themselves. Notice how I can say this out loud. They can't hear debt slaves can't hear me. They have no idea what I'm talking about. None, 0. And that's the power in it. I could say it out loud. They have no idea what I'm talking about. None. And honestly, I honestly wish I could hear what I sound like to a debt slave, right? I wish I could. Here's a person like the debt slave is trying to, just find something wrong or doubt what I'm saying, whatever, right? Even though everything I'm saying is mathematically true, they just can't. They can't figure out that part. They're like, damn, but everything he's saying is mathematically true. Instead of just accepting it to be true, they try to find it to make it not true. But that is all part of the program. The majority, in order for psychological capitalism work, the majority must be in debt. Now, this leads me into the segue of my next thing. This is the part right now. Like when you understand that it's everything is psychological, right? You can pretty much see everything. Well, not everything, but the majority of things that debt slaves you can't see because you're in debt. You don't own yourself. Like if you don't own yourself and you don't even know you don't own yourself, you really can't understand what I'm talking about ever. You'll never get it. What'd you say, Nick? The sound go in one ear through through the debt matrix and out the other. You're right. It's like Nick, he has this now in his 30s, and you guys don't really get that because it's when you're young, you think 30s old, you really do believe that. You're like, oh man, I'm leaving my 20s, I'm 30, I'm a grown-up, grown up. It's like, no, I promise you, you're still young, I promise you. But with this knowledge in your 30s, You guys don't even you guys don't even understand. That means automatic millionaire. Automatic. That's an automatic. The person that understands this in their 30s, they understand that that's an automatic millionaire. Automatic. That's like step 1. You could see making $1 million easy. You're like, "Oh, that shit's easy." Because you understand phantom income, you understand the true purpose of taxes, you know what to do, you know who to talk to. You're not you're not You're not taken by people's things or what they have or where they work or what type of career they're in. You guys don't really understand that. When you have this knowledge, it's like having financial x-ray vision. It's amazing. You guys don't even get it. You can hear a debt slave talking a mile away. They don't even know what they're saying. Because you guys, since debt slaves don't know, you guys are all debt slaves. You guys are just at different levels inside the debt matrix, but you guys don't know that. You guys all talk debt, thinking you own houses with no money, think you got a great deal on a finance car for 84 months. You think you're cool because you have a finance cell phone in your hand. You don't even know your whole world is finance. And if it's finance, guess what? It doesn't exist, mathematically speaking, of course, but you don't know that. Talking about equity, thinking you own the equity of the house that you didn't have the money to buy. That's called psychological capitalism. Now remember, now remember, in psychological capitalism, currency doesn't exist for debt slaves. And if currency doesn't exist for debt slaves, that means you have no money to buy anything. You guys think the word buy is buy a house when you're really financing the house for 30 years. If you're financing the house, you shouldn't be using the word buy because you're buying nothing. Mortgages can't buy houses. A mortgage can't buy a house. Who told you that? The bank? That's called business. Knowing you guys have no currency, I think to myself, the one thing that's baffling me is this. How come there are so many available jobs? I just cannot figure that out because listen, you guys are debt slaves. Not working is not an option for you. But you don't know that. You guys do not know not working is not an option for you because you don't own yourself. So you have to work. Okay. I don't understand how you guys are surviving with all these available jobs. It's not like you guys can be choosy right now. I don't get it. There's a piece I'm missing somewhere because that part doesn't make any sense to me. You're like, "Hey, 15 million jobs available." But I'm like, "What? How are they eating? How are debt slaves eating if they're not having jobs? How are they eating? How do they have cell phones in their hands if they're not working? I don't get it. Now, understanding how this works, I usually can pretty much see a lot of stuff that you guys cannot see. But this one I can't see for some reason. I just can't see it. Something big is coming. I don't get it. The only thing I could see this lining up for is that universal basic income thing. It seems like it's going to slide in there like a cheap suit. It's just like, oh, you guys are really just steering it right there. It's just like, bam, because you guys getting used to staying home, working when pick up a Uber job or work when you want. Hey, deliver food and drive people around and blah blah blah. So you guys don't think twice about it. That's what it. Hey, Nick, that's what it looks like. It's coming to me because I don't get. Okay, listen. Besides the point, besides UBI going to maybe come here, whatever, right? What are you debt slaves doing right now to eat food? What are you doing to pay for your electricity? How are you paying your bills? How you doing that? How you making your car payments? Listen, where is this money coming from? Because I haven't heard anything big on the news. Hey, they're sending out more checks. I didn't hear about that. How are you guys surviving? I don't get it with no jobs. You guys, listen, you have to have a roof over your head. You have to. Every time I hear that, oh my God, this is an unrecord amount of people quitting their job. I'm like, quit. Debt slaves can't quit. Debt slaves don't have the option of quitting jobs. They don't have that option. There's something that's there that they're landing on like a pillow or something. I'm not sure what's going. Are they dropping housing refinance rates? Because I don't really look at that stuff. But I'm just saying things that might make sense to me. Are the home equity lines of credit are they at an all time low right now or something? Were you guys living off a house? I guarantee you, a lot of you guys have refinanced your house and living off that money. That's why they're like, "Hey, yeah, we'll just attach it to your bank account, and then you could just use it when you want to, just like you do your normal checking account." And you guys do exactly that. You guys do exactly that. They know you're gonna do that, of course, because you know how they knew you were gonna do. You know how the banks know you're gonna do that, because if you're out there calling yourself a homeowner and you know you got a mortgage, they know exactly what you're gonna do because you believe the mortgage bought you a house, made you a homeowner, when that's not mathematically true. That's not true. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, now this is like a glitch in the debt matrix. Okay, this is the glitch. You're like, but wait a minute. That's how millions of people do it, buy houses with mortgages. Yeah, you got to take a step back and say, yes, you're right. Millions of people do the same things you do that makes no mathematical sense at all. They're all calling themselves homeowners. Who cares what they're calling themselves? So what? Hey, listen, that's clearly psychological, but if it's not mathematically true, it's psychological. Now, you guys are stuck in the debt matrix, right? The glitch in the debt matrix right now. So if you're a homeowner and you have a mortgage, right? I want you to grab your calculator, open up the calculator app, and I want you to put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance, your balance of the house, what you have left, the amount, okay? And then hit enter. See that large negative number? If it's not mathematically true, it's psychological. Okay. That's a large negative number. You own nothing. There is no equity anywhere. It just all that is psychological. Okay. That's called business. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, millions of people do it. I know that. They obviously don't. Isn't that clear that millions of people don't know that they're not homeowners? Okay. That's called they're psychological homeowners. They don't know that. Even though I'm saying this out loud right now, they can't hear me. They can't hear me. Debt slaves can't hear a word I'm saying. Nothing. Even though, listen closely. Even though what I'm saying, I'm making them do it on their own calculator, on their own phone. Even if somebody hit this video later and then they actually do this on their phone and be like, he's right. Oh my God, he's right. That is a large negative number, and some will believe it, and some might like, wait a minute, okay, he's on to something or whatever. All they got to do is just agree with the calculator. That's it. Like, wait a minute, that's a large negative number. Yeah, according to they taught us this in grade school. They said if it's negative, that means under zero. Yes, that's they did. They taught us that in Miss Klingensmith. Matter of fact, my math teacher back in grade school. I still remember her name, and I see why now. She taught me the most important facts that I needed to know. Uh, Zeros in the middle. On the right is in green number. That's positive. And on the left of the zero, that's negative. That means below zero. Yep, I remember that. That's all I needed to know. That's it. If it doesn't make mathematical sense, it cannot make financial sense. It can't. Now, do you understand? Do you understand why SMD is going to be known around the world? Do you understand that? I'm here to show you something. I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. I don't do that. I'm just here to show you something. And the ones that catch on, you guys catch on. Congratulations, because none of this works without people. So there must be a certain amount of people that understand that capitalism is psychological. There must be a certain amount because they both work hand in hand. People that understand that capitalism is psychological, they understand that it doesn't work without debt slaves. They need debt slaves make it work. And the best part about it, it's all the choice. You get to choose. Nobody's holding you back from knowing or becoming wealthy or rich or whatever. You're only holding yourself back. People that are wealthy, they understand that capitalism is psychological. There's a few out there that do. You can't make this up. This can't be made like what I'm talking about right now. This cannot be made up. First, you have to know it exists. First, you have to know it exists. Then you got to say, then you got to figure out you don't own yourself. Those are hard. Those are hard steps. Those are very hard steps. First, you have to know you're a debt slave. You're so focused that you guys are so focused on that credit score, you guys forget about what's within the credit report. The credit reports are owner's ledgers. In psychological capitalism, those are called owner's ledgers, owner ledgers. Those are all the businesses that own you in that credit report. And they reward you with a credit score for staying in debt with them. That's how they reward you. Say, hey, good slave, there you go. I'm going to reward you. You pay us back our money on time, all the time. We're going to reward you with a high credit score. You don't like to pay us back our money on time, so we're going to reward you with a low credit score. But it doesn't matter. They still all own you. And as long as they own you, you can't own yourself. You can't own yourself as long as there's businesses that own you, you cannot own yourself. Do you understand? Student loan, and that includes student loan debt, IRS taxes, uh, 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 penalties and fines for whatever crimes or breaking the law, all that stuff, and that's money. Yeah, you got to pay all that back, all of it. And it counts on which ones you have. Penalties? No, you can't bankrupt penalties. That would be pointless penalty if you could bankrupt a fine that you got from doing breaking the law, and then you get a fine, and then you go file bankruptcy, and it gets erased. That wouldn't be the penalty would be null and void. So you can't do that. So if you have that IRS taxes, penalties and fines, student debt, those are the worst debt. You have to pay those back. At least you can bankrupt like credit card debt, consumer debt. You can't bankrupt the other stuff. That's what I've been doing lately. I'm just accepting what is. And I still have trouble accepting what is. I do. I can't watch social it's hard for me to watch social media anymore because I'm telling you, once you understand capitalism is psychological, you can see everything like X-ray vision. You can see people, you can see what they do. All you gotta do is listen to people. They talk. You guys don't understand that debt is a language for you guys. The only reason why I understand debt because I was born in debt. So I understand the language, but now I understand the language of non-debt too. Debt free, the language of debt free. That's a totally different language than debt. But like I said earlier, once you understand this, then you immediately own yourself. Okay. That's the best way I can describe that to you. If you've never owned yourself, if you've always been in debt all your life, you have no idea what I'm talking about. You have to actually own yourself to feel what I'm talking about. Once you do that, your life is going to be totally different. You're not going to have a relationship with a person that doesn't own themselves, deep in debt, student loan debt, car payments, multiple credit card payments, and they think it's normal. You're not going to attach yourself to anybody like that, legally or biologically. You're not going to recreate with a debt slave. You're not going to do that. You're not going to care about the opinions of debt slaves, especially like, well, if you're a person with maybe have low self-esteem and it really bothers you if the people's opinions about you just really disturb you. They just really, but I'm telling you this, okay? Once you own yourself, then you'll see where those opinions you will see where those opinions are coming from. And if those opinions are coming from debt slaves, it doesn't matter. They're debt slaves. Who cares what they say? Who cares if they call me names? You're ugly, LJ. You got a big head. Oh, your face is ugly. You're old. Are you a debt slave? Yeah. Who cares what you think? I don't care, debt slave. You're a debt slave. And debt slaves choose to be debt slaves. Nothing exists for you. You guys own nothing. You can't own anything. You have no money for nothing. But you guys ain't working. That doesn't make any sense to me. I keep coming back to that. I don't get it. All these people not working. Now imagine if President Biden didn't move that student loan pause date. You guys would have been in some deep, deep shit. Deep. If you guys are working right now, imagine what the student loan debt stacked back on you. Now, this is the only thing I'm thinking. Okay, it got pushed to August. You guys, it doesn't it doesn't matter where they push the date. It really doesn't matter because you don't have the money now, and you're not gonna have the money then. So I'm thinking to myself, what is gonna be the difference between now and August? what's going to happen in this time frame, because student loan debt is not going away. You guys are, nobody's forgiving anything. You guys can forget about that. Stop praying and hoping. That's never happened. Okay. You guys will be paying that for the rest of your life if you choose. It's up to you if you're going to pay on student loan debt the rest of your life. It's totally up to you. But something's got to happen between now and August, because those payments got to start at some time. So something has to happen between them. And all you guys are not working. You can't afford, you just begging for forgiveness, just letting the president know you cannot afford shit. Even though these two presidents gave you a gift, interest, you could have paid up. They gave you 2 years to pay off your student loan debt interest free. You guys were so focused on student loan forgiveness, totally not seeing the gift that they have given you, that this will never happen again, ever. It took a worldwide pandemic for them to stop student loan debt payments. So that tells you right there, that is never happening again, ever. So what's going to happen in August? I don't get it. Something now, between now and August, has to happen, because you guys don't have no money now. You guys are debt slaves. All these available jobs. What? Debt slaves don't have no option. I'm thinking to myself, debt slaves do not have the option to stop working. What are they? How are they eating food? You guys got to be, hey man, I'm thinking you guys got to be living off home HELOC loans. Somebody check the HELOC rates. Are they at an all-time low right now or something? Something's going on. I don't get it. Once you come to this level, man, I can't even, I can't take it no more. I can't watch social media. I can't watch no gossip channels. I can't, because they don't talk about nothing. Debt slaves in there jibber jabbering. Talking about subjects that everybody can have an opinion on. Of course, you're going to be talking about it for hours, because everybody can have an opinion on it. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at the obvious. Okay, they gotta eat. So HELOC loans are, hey, come refinance. The bank reaches out. Hey, your house went up in value. You guys stall for that stupid shit. And then you think they're reaching out to you because they like you or something? No, they know they're in charge of your money. Of course, they know where your financial situation is. They're looking at it. They're looking at your financial situation. You think they're reaching out to you by chance? Of course, they know when to reach out to you. They're going to jump all over that like hot pancakes, syrup on pancakes. And in your head, you probably, hey, yeah, when the economy turns around, and you guys are just so. What's crazy is, like, the majority of you guys with houses will do that, right? So you can keep up with this facade for your neighbors, like you guys are not all in trouble. And all you guys are doing is giving them. You're just giving the bank money with interest. You guys don't even know. It's just a matter of time before you are foreclosed on. They already know that. He said they was handing out deals first year 2% fixed. Ask me how I know. Another crash would help push through UBI. Yeah. A war would help create a crash. A lot of student loans as well. Hmm. A war would help create a crash. Huh. I mean, a war where? Outside of this, not in this country, are you you're not talking about in this country, are you? What's up, Ashley? I don't know. Maybe, let me put this out here. Maybe some of you guys might have some ideas of what what are debt slaves doing today to survive right now. This is baffling me. I ain't gonna lie, this is baffling me. How are you guys eating? You drive I'm driving down the road, I'm seeing all these new car plates, paper plates. I'm like, and there's millions out of work? I don't get it. How are all these new cars on the road? You guys are debt slaves. I don't if you drive down in a new car that got paper plates, I don't really care. If you're making payments, who cares? It doesn't mean anything. I'm just wondering how you got it with no job outside. That's serious. You know what? And that's too deep for this channel, but to Andre, that's serious business right there. That's serious business. War means people die. You know what I'm saying? That's serious. I want to know what they're doing to I want to know. Anybody know? Anybody know what death slaves are doing to eat food, electricity, internet? Because I see social media is booming. Super chats, all I'm like, how are these death slaves doing all that? Now, okay, let's just think about it. They have no money, so of course they're using credit cards. Okay, so credit card usage must be through the roof. But since those are private businesses, we don't know. We can't, but it has to be going through the roof right now. Low interest rates. You guys are living off of HELOCs right now. Okay, I see that happening. What else out there? I haven't heard it about any tax money, any emergency fund money. I haven't heard anything. Oh, PPP loans, maybe? They made those PPP loans pretty easy to get. Pretty easy. Because like let me give you an example, okay? For those of you guys that do PPP fraud, okay? All right, and I'm gonna give you a psychological capitalism view of that, okay? First of all, it's so easy. It was so simple to get hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars just by making up companies. Hey, I own this company, blah, 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 this and that. Well, if you're doing fraud, you're doing it for the money. Okay. That's what you're doing it for. Because if you get caught, you can go to prison because that's a federal crime. That's prison. So if you by default are risking the time in your life for paper worthless money, because you can go to the website and see how much they make money for. It's worth it's worthless. It's just paper, right? But the point is this: if you are willing are you willing to risk the time of your life for something that's worth less value than the time in your life? You're a debt slave because only debt slaves do that. Only a debt slave will clearly do something that's clearly going to come back to you because you're doing it for the money. Because when you do that, now you're really owned, but you don't really get it. You're owned, stamped for that easy, worthless money, stamped. And you guys are probably doing this shit and living off the money. Hey, there's so many people doing it. They can't catch everybody. Start talking that stupid debt slave talk. There's millions of people in the country. They can't catch us all. Who's telling you that? Other people doing the same crime you're doing? You better stop listening to them. Better stop listening to them. And you're out there doing the fraud and you're living off the money and chilling, thinking just, hey, that's you guys have no idea what that money just you don't know what you just did. And you're living off of it right now? Mm, I got some bad news for you. Hook, line, and sinker. You don't know to step back and say, why is that money so easy to get? Dude just made up a couple companies and he got $1,000,000, $2,000,000. Yeah, that was sure was easy. I know it looks easy. It was too easy. Something that leads right back to you. Again, only debt slaves risk something that's worth more for less. Only debt slaves risk the time in their life for money. Now you probably took all of because the majority of you guys never seen that amount of money in one shot, so you're gonna go crazy. Because the first thing you guys want to do is just show the world, hey, look, I got bread, and then you guys go out and just buy stuff, and it it just makes absolutely no sense. None, zero. Mm, that's the only thing I can think of. Majority of people being social media stars, I guess. I don't know. Talking about talk about gossip. All you got it today, like right now. Here's an easy. Let me. I'm gonna tell you, give an easy way to navigate through social media today. Okay, because the majority of people all do the same things. They all copy each other. They do the same thing. You can't even tell them apart anymore, right? All you gotta do is just look at their thumbnails, and you'll know their content without even listening to their content. Look at the thumbnails. They're all the same. Look at the titles. They're all the same. Do you think they know that? No, they don't know that. Do you think they know they're in just competition? They're only in competition with each other in that arena. Yes, they will. Their slave will risk something of greater value for something of less if do it all the time. Time is the most valuable thing on earth. When you own yourself, and this is what I do, by the way. This is what I do. When you own yourself, you never, ever, you will never, ever put anything above the time in your life ever again. You will not even allow that because you know for a fact one day you're going to be dead because that's what humans do. We're born. Everybody knows that you're born one day and then you die one day. That's everybody knows that. It's so crazy. We'll be live walking around on earth. We'll go to funerals and, just look at people die and stuff like it's not. the- One day that's going to be you. People forget that. One day that's going to be you. When I own myself around age 45 or something like that, or somewhere around there, right? I didn't really understand. It still took me a few years to understand that I own myself because I never even, this is something I never thought about. I like, I never walked around thinking, hey, I don't own myself. I thought I was a free person. I had a job and a car and a house, and I thought I was free. I wasn't free. Then I look back and I'm like, damn, I'm 45. Look how much time I just been bullshitting. Just, just tying yourself to just non-productive relationship, biologically creating with people that you shouldn't have been. Oh my goodness, man. You just because all of that costs money and time. I remember, like I always tell this story. I remember being in every time I was in like child support court, right? I would always say to myself, I'm not supposed to be here. That's what I say to myself. I'm not supposed to be here. Now I had no logical reason to why I would say that. As I'm standing there with my lawyer looking at the judge, hearing the judge dictate my finances and all this stuff, I used to say to myself all the time, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not. But I had no reason for saying, but now that I'm out, now I get it. Had I had this knowledge when I was younger in my 20s and my 30s, There's no way I would have been in court. I would have been in family court. I wouldn't have been in divorce court. I wouldn't have been fighting for weekends and every other holiday. That would have never happened, ever. I would have never allowed that to happen. You know how people in debt matrix, they always say things like, "Well, you can't really choose to who you fall in love with." Yes, you can. That's a lie. That's TV. TV programs you to believe like, "Hey, you really can't control who you fall in love." Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Once you own yourself, oh yeah, you can very much choose easily. Because you will not, first of all, you will not fall in love with a debt slave. I promise you that will never happen. You will never fall in. I don't care what they look like. I don't care what kind of job they have, a career or a successful business or whatever, drive a nice car, they live in a great house in part of the country in a gated community. If they're a debt slave, you're not gonna care. Because if they live, say like this, you went to somebody's house, right? And they live in this nice gated community. They're driving up in this nice car, and you could tell all the houses in the area are just, oh yeah, you gotta have money to live in this area. This area, all you gotta do is turn to the person and say, "Hey, do you have a mortgage?" And if they say yes, who cares? Doesn't matter. That's the bank's house. That's the bank's neighborhood. You're looking. That's the bank's neighborhood. Yeah. You go through the neighborhood, yeah, there's people living in it, but they're living in the bank's houses, okay? They don't know that. All they gotta d What a wonderful deal this is, right? The bank owns the houses, right? But they're not responsible for shit in the house, on the house, repairs of the house, nothing. No, they don't have to pay taxes on the house, nothing. Can you imagine the deal? Okay, picture this. Say it like this. Say it like this. You own a home, but you're renting it out. Okay, but say like you own a home, but you don't have to fix nothing on it. So if the sink goes out, that's not your problem. The renter has to fix it, right? Uh, uh, if the water main breaks, you don't care because the renter's gonna fix that. That's the banks, because that's when you have a mortgage, that's what you do. That's Hey man, that is phenomenal. The roof goes out and all the bank says, "Hey man, make sure you got insurance in the house." That's it. Because they don't want to, they own the house, but they want you, and you pay to cover it. Because that's why they require you to have insurance on the house. And you pay for the insurance to cover their house. So just in case it burns, they get paid. But isn't that beautiful? That's beautiful. That is beautiful. But as a homeowner, quote homeowner, you can't, if the renter in your house is, if there's a problem, you gotta fix it. When the bank owns a house and you have a mortgage, they don't have to fix shit. They don't have to fix nothing. And they get paid. All they say is, "Hey, make sure our payment's on time, or else we're gonna kick you out and put new debt slaves in." That's how it works. They call it foreclosure. That means kick the old debt slaves out that's not paying and put new debt slaves in. And you know what else crazy? This was crazy too. I'm seeing, now listen, millions of jobs opening, millions of job openings, right? And they're building neighborhoods. They're knocking down trees and acres, and they're putting like 50 to 100 homes in this neighborhood, and the people and the businesses are building stores, and what's so crazy, and I think this is what they're doing to try to hang with Amazon, right? So they don't be kicked out the game. I noticed that they're building suburbs, and in the suburbs, the big companies are they're putting the grocery stores and the strip malls inside the next to the neighborhoods. You see what I'm saying? Because if people are now, listen, if people are working more from home now, they can't they're gonna be, you gotta remember, debt slaves have to work. So they're gonna be working a lot of hours in the house. Okay. So they're gonna do nothing but order it, right? They have to do a lot of ordering. And the first place they're gonna go to is Amazon. But if there's a store next to the neighborhood, that means that store can get their product to them within an hour. Now that's going to be very difficult for Amazon to do, and it counts on where you are. If they have a storage warehouse, maybe, but if they're not, they're going to choose that store. It's just, and you got to think about it now. Remember, debt slaves have no money, so the houses that you see going up, those are bank owned. Okay, but this is how you got to think. Those are bank owned houses. Okay, they're building them for a reason because they plan on putting people in them. Okay, the bank wouldn't just build houses and just leave them empty. They're building these neighborhoods for a reason. Okay, they're planning on putting people into them. So millions of people not working, they quitting jobs, but they're building a whole bunch of houses. That doesn't make sense. It's like, why are you building those houses? I'm thinking, banks, don't you guys see the same thing I'm saying? Millions of people are not having jobs right now, and you're building houses. And remember, I know that they have no money to buy these houses, so the bank knows they have to get mortgages for them. They have to. Debt slaves have no money to buy anything. They don't have no money, so they have to get mortgages. What are they planning to do some kind of mortgage fire sale or something? I don't get it. Or like I said earlier, they understand the new with the new economy, and this what I'm picturing, okay? With the new economy, the majority will be working from home. Okay? The majority will be working from home. And so if they're going to be working from home, they have to have homes to live in. Because debt slaves are going to believe since they're working from home, they're going to be saving money on gas and all this other stuff like that, right? That's just a psychological thing. They're not going to be saving anything. But what's going to happen is that since they work from home, they're going to be more susceptible for working a lot of overtime. Because you got to remember, they say, "Hey, would you like to work a double shift from home?" Yeah, because they're going to be at home. They can just work, and then they give them a few hours to do what they need to do before to start the next shift. Right? They're already at home. They're like, "Hey, I'll just go upstairs, take a sleep, set my alarm, go to sleep for a couple hours, wake up, and start back up." Then everybody's going to be from A. So they're going to need houses. See what I'm saying? I saw that today. I saw they're doing that. I seen a couple of those strip malls inside of the neighborhoods. Right next, it's not inside the neighborhood, but right next to the neighborhood. Where do you think that neighborhood's going to be shopping? Right there. Right there. They don't even have to. They probably won't even have to use the cars to go to they probably just walk. I only just learned the difference between business credit and personal credit. Yeah, see? But that's okay. That's okay. Long as you know it. You know what I'm saying? You get it. It doesn't really matter your age. Just be happy that you got it. Because it's going to keep connecting like a puzzle. You're gonna be like, wait a minute. Oh, then why do people say good debt or bad debt? Because that's just a feeling. Look how many debt slaves say there's good debt and then there's bad debt. Those are feelings. What are they talking about? Feelings about debt is just debt. There is no such thing as good debt. There is no such thing as bad debt. Debt is just debt. So when you hear people say call it good debt versus bad debt, remember the only thing that means is that they're telling you that person is about to tell you how they feel about debt. Hey, I feel that a house is good debt. You mean a mortgaged house? Yeah, I feel that's good debt. See, they're telling you a feeling because that's not you're $300,000-$400,000 in debt. There's nothing good about that. You go finance a house and that house is $350,000-$400,000. That you're $400,000 in debt. There's nothing good about that. Or when you hear people say, "Hey, rent versus mortgage," why you Why are you versing those two? They're not even the same arena. There's nothing. The only thing that mortgage and rent are the same. There's no verses. You either rent from the landlord or you rent from the bank. Just because they changed the name from rent to mortgage, it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. You're making payments. And regular rent, when you're renting at an apartment complex, that's an expense. That's called a rent is called a living expense. You go finance a house for 400,000, that's $400,000 worth of debt. You're in debt. What's up, Malika? Correct. I like the way you put that. That is true. It's against the laws of mathematics for debt slaves to know the difference. That is true. It is against the laws of mathematics for them to know. That's where, that's where I'm going right now. I can't really explain that. And I'm gonna do a video this weekend for the members only so you guys can understand. But it's just psychological capitalism, period. That's what it is. Period. It's true. It's nothing, but it's so, when you've been living, I've been living this way I was living in the debt matrix for like 45 years. And I say 45 years because debt, the debt matrix kind of mentality that started at a young age. TV, friends. When you're a kid, you don't know that you're in a debt matrix. You grow up thinking everybody makes payments and car payments and phone payments and credit card payments. That you think that's normal. That's not normal. That's for people in debt. When you hear somebody brag on the credit card limits or how many credit cards they have, from whom, from which company, that's debt slaves. That's debt slave speak. They don't know what they're talking about. What's up, Django Geek?
What's going on, SMD? Thanks for letting me on, man. I
Of
appreciate you.
course, man. Thank you for coming up.
Yeah, I mean, bro, I mean, like the way that you put things and your whole outlook changed my whole perspective, bro. Like we met on the Ramil's podcast a little while back, and I've been thinking on what you said, man, and like I said, even in the comment section, like I was saying, bro, like my whole like perspective had like shift, bro. Like when I learned the difference between business credit and personal credit, I was like, bro, why like why did I pull out this HELOC, bro? Like taken I could have started a business
Hmm.
and gotten, because my credit is good now and everything, because like even before then I was handling my finances and everything. Like I said, I don't have any debt other than that HELOC. But if
Hmm.
I had known the difference, I would
Hmm.
have found a way to get the HELOC through a business so that don't reflect on me.
You're
You
right.
understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh,
And
yeah.
so like now I'm putting together all the pieces to where it's
Mhm.
like
And how old are you?
I'm 27.
Oh shit, man. That's all right. Yeah, you had to feel that lesson. Those believe it or not, those lessons are important because you felt it. You'll never forget that lesson now, right?
True, sir.
See,
Absolutely.
that's what I mean. That's what you have to feel, those lessons. So that, believe it or not, that lesson was important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so like I said, like I'm putting together the puzzle pieces and I'm thinking, okay, so all of the ambitions that I had that kind of made me, like I said, I was trying to use the HELOC as like leverage for like stocks or investments or other real estate and everything like that. So it's like, well, the first step that I need to take is to make sure that none of it actually reflects on me to begin with.
Mhm.
Like the and so that I don't expose myself, because now I've been looking into the whole purpose of like LLCs and everything and asset
Mhm.
protection, and it's all just about, because once you're free in the world, you're open to litigation, people, like getting into bad business deals and everything. It's kind of like a poker game and everything. You want to be able to protect yourself and keep your cards close to your chest so that you're not exposed to the rest of the world. Because when you're free and you're in business, nobody's going to protect you. So the first step that you got to take is to protect yourself and your assets and everything. And so I'm even realizing like the whole purpose of a business to begin with is to protect yourself and to safeguard your assets and not put yourself in those situations, man. So
hey, what's going on, gentlemen?
What's going on, sir?
Hey, what's up, LJ?
What's happening? I'm sorry, Django. Would you finish? I didn't want to.
Yeah. No, I mean,
what's
I
up,
just
man?
wanted to say that, bro. And I appreciate you letting me on, bro. But yeah, you changed my whole perspective. I can't wait to see
You
where.
might as well stay up, brother. You might as well stay up.
Yeah,
I'm
stay up.
testing the
Don't
mic
leave.
out. What's going on, LJ?
Yeah.
All right,
Salute
sure.
SMD.
Yeah, stay up here, man. I want because he's 27, man. I like the younger dudes come up here talking, so the other younger people can see that age really has nothing to do with it, right? Because they look at me like, oh man, he's 50. That's so that's a long time ago. What's up, man? Damn,
What's
look at that
what's
camera.
going on,
Look at that
fellas?
view. That is damn. Look at that
I'm in
camera.
4K, baby, in 4K.
Wow, that is nice, man.
Yeah, I grabbed the mic too, so I'm testing out the mic.
I can damn near touch him. Let me touch his face. Oh, okay.
What's going on, guys? But yeah, getting out of debt, that's serious. It gives you a lot of power, you know what I'm saying, over your time. You realize that time is the most important asset, really. It's the most valuable thing because you have limited time in your life. So you got to go after, it sounds cliche, but you got to go after your dreams and you got to do the things in life and take the risk. While
let me ask you something. Can you see your direction better now that 40,000 is moved out of your life? You know what I'm saying? Kind of explain, let them know how your vision is now, that it's because they don't really get like, oh, he just paid off that money. That's it. They don't really get, kind of talk to them about what's happened since that point.
I mean, well, you sleep better at night. I tell you that right there.
Yes,
it's just like, it's a weight off your shoulders. Like you're not worrying about student loan forgiveness and stuff like that. And it's just free. It frees you up. It's crazy. You can actually enjoy life a little bit more. And then you think twice before you start taking out big loans and stuff like that. Because you're going to have to pay for that with the time in your life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like that, man. No, that sleep. I want people to understand that sleep is very important, man. It's just
so important.
It's just sleep is so lovely now. I mean, I love sleep. Love it.
Yeah, LJ, I was binge watching all your content, bro. I know you see the likes.
Yeah, I like that, man. You what's the name? She's been binge. A lot of people have told me they binged watched it, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, you can see through everything now. Like people's conversations, like it doesn't take a lot. Like once you get that free and kind of understand this language, like you can see through everything.
I try to tell people it's like financial X-ray vision.
I'll be somebody when I get this car. Oh, all I need to do is get my credit up. I'll be able to be somebody. And like it's like, and then that wears off. You get that car.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You ride around in it a few times. Not to say that you shouldn't have nice things.
Right.
But you got to realize what that means and you got to pay that money back. You don't pay it back, that car is getting taken away. And if you're too attached to these objects, now when that gets taken away, you're losing a portion of your identity, and all started with you just not having the cash for it to begin with.
Do you ever think about your mindset from like today back to when you said you used to hide your car? You ever think back to that mindset?
Oh, it's crazy, LJ. Crazy. Like,
you ever think about your mindset of how you were thinking at that time in your life compared to today? You ever think about those moments?
Oh yeah, it's just, I mean, I own my car in cash now, right?
Right.
And it's like I don't worry about gas prices and stuff like that.
Right.
I'm still working. Everybody's still working, right? But you just have the peace of mind and know that your financial roller coaster, your bank account is not always going like this.
Right.
It's steady.
It's steady.
It's more steady.
Yeah.
And that gives you a sense of comfort and peace.
And you're not checking it all the time either. Yeah. Right. You don't need to check it all the time.
It's coming out of my account. You know what I'm saying? I got all these monthly things to pay for.
Right.
And then when you have less to pay for monthly, you can relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice, man. It's real nice. It's 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 nice to go, because people, like, when you go to people don't really pay attention to these things, but when you're debt free and you go to the mailbox, nothing's going to be in there unless you want something to be in there. I'm not talking about your light bill,
everything
but
digital. Everything digital. I don't want nothing in the box.
Yeah, nothing. I don't
I don't
want
want nothing in the
box. You're right, man. You're not scared to go to your mailbox. Like debt slaves, they're scared to go to the mailbox. Like when you're debt free, that ain't nothing.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the stream, and I gotta do this more often, LJ.
Yeah, you should, man.
I'm getting out my comfort zone, man. Like I'm definitely getting out my comfort zone with this. But that's what you got to do to be great. Expand. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's automatic, man. That's automatic. That's happening. if you were shy before, or you wasn't a comfort, I'm out of this zone. I'm out of there. Because you're different now. You're different.
Facts. And you've been a huge inspiration too, LJ. SMD, like, to actually break this down for people to understand, and they'll get it eventually.
Yeah, it's like what I've been telling you guys. When I write this book, if I keep, now think about it, if I keep specific dates and times out of the book, they will never be able to figure out when that book was written, because psychological capitalism will always be here.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying? There will be no book like that.
Yeah. And that mentality of being a debt slave will always be here too.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Always. Oh yeah. Psychological capitalism cannot work without debt slaves. They have to be here. They have to. For us to live the way we live, they have to be debt slaves.
Yeah, that's facts. I mean, like you were saying, OJ, like car lots wouldn't even exist. You know what I'm saying? Because people feel like they got to finance a car in order to have one. And then that's needed, because if everybody's like, oh, I need the cash for it, people be living like way too frugal, and their economy probably would switch too. Like, that's a good thing. Let me ask you that, LJ. What happens if half the nation woke up? Then what?
That would be a problem. I don't even want that. I don't even want that to happen. That would be a problem.
Interesting.
And that'll like, what's that big car lot? The biggest one?
Isn't it in California? Is that the
Mercedes? They're everywhere though.
The Mercedes Benz one. I think the biggest one is
not
in
Mercedes. This is the other car
lot. Oh, literally the name of the lot.
Yeah, the literal name of the car lot.
Yeah.
Football field. They're football field side. They're everywhere. God damn it! I get blue and yellow.
What about it though? What about it though?
They're just so big, right? But who their main customers are, right? In order for them to be that big, they must be financing everybody, and so who their customer base is. Just debt slaves, like debt slaves.
You remember?
Really don't know.
You remember those Easter Motors? The fucking theme, finance it all the way. You remember that?
No, I never. I know. That's just funny to listen to, though.
Put you in the car today.
Look, that's in your head now too. You a debt slave. You thinking about that? You're like, oh, yeah, I need to go over there.
I need to hit that up, man. Get you no money down, hardly any money down. We'll get you in no matter what. It's like, ooh.
That debt slaves love hearing that kind of shit.
Love. Well, I was sharing a video too. I don't know if you guys caught that, man. This lady doctor, she made a video say how to buy a house when you're broke.
See, that's right there. That's the game right there. They got to get you to believe that first, like that first sentence.
All you got to do is read the comments. They're believing her because she's a doctor. They're believing she got $350,000 in student loan debt. Talking about buying a house and buying another house. Her and her husband bought another house.
You know what's so funny, LJ? Debt slaves will risk something of greater value for something of lesser value, but at the same time, debt slaves are always trying to get something for nothing.
Yeah.
Ain't that crazy?
Yes. You're right. But that's all part of the program. That's all part of the program.
Don't make no mathematical sense.
And the things we're talking about right now, and I want you guys, especially as the younger generation, I want you guys to understand, like, what we're discussing right now, they can't hear us speaking. I mean, they can hear that voice. We're voicing something, but they don't understand what we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the cryptocurrency thing is wild to me too.
That's wild.
Oh
That is
man,
wild.
like they better hope that thing works out. If that don't work out, oh man.
Well, it's not. I mean,
People
think
gonna
about
be
it from our
sick.
perspective. That's totally made up. Totally.
Putting all their money into that, and it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna. They watching it every day, watching the numbers, spending all this time.
all this time.
It better work.
It better work. It's gonna be my retirement. This is like it's all made up. No currency exists for debt slaves, none. So when they made up cryptocurrency, it's like, okay, I'm thinking, okay, what are the banks up to now? What are they doing? What are they testing? This is my personal view. I think the banks are testing digital because they're going to go. They have to go digital. Okay, it's going that way. Period. Right? They're testing it with cryptocurrency. Right? See how it works. See what to do. See what not to do. Blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden they just come out with their own currency and make all others against the law. Period.
But here's the thing, LJ. It's like, all right, it'd be different if you can just go down to Wawa or whatever your convenience store and be like, all right, I want to use these coins. But you like people are buying digital artwork with this. Like, this is like, what's the utility behind this? Like, maybe I just don't understand it.
It's psychological, bro.
It's
you know what I'm saying? You're putting real cash money like dollars and bills,
right?
That buy gas, resources.
Mm-hmm.
You putting that in cryptocurrency. You better hope that goes up, and you can't even control it.
No,
it's not like it's okay. I'm just gonna hustle harder. No. I'm gonna sell these houses. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna sell solar or whatnot. It's like you can't even control it, and then you gotta take the money out to use it. You got to take the cash out if you want to use it.
But see how you're thinking though. You gotta remember, never forget, they don't have any money. So the money that they're literally investing is the bank's money because they have none. So they're really not risking anything. They don't know that they're not risking anything because they have no money to risk at all.
And then look, on top of that, look, check this out, OJ. So you're in debt, right? $50,000.
Mm-hmm.
You're using money that you could use to pay down that debt.
Yeah.
To buy the cryptocurrency, hoping that it goes up. But what if it goes down? But your debt is still going up.
Yes.
By default. And then, like, let's say, I hear this too. I want to use this money for these investments. Mm-hmm. But you better hope that those investments increase at a higher rate than the interest on your loans. Right. And are you tracking that? Because
no, they're not.
You might think that, oh yeah, I'm putting this money here, it's growing, I'm getting cash flow. But are you even tracking it? Because what happens if your stats dip, but then the interest on all the things that you're financing is going up higher than your investments are?
Facts.
Mm-hmm. But see how deep you guys go. The only thing I would say to a person like that, I'd be like, is your student loan older than your investment? Yeah. Then I just tune them out and walk away. I don't care about
Yeah, so
but I do know what you're saying though.
And then look at what's crazy too, LJ, is like now they don't even want to check to see what the student loan amount is.
Nope.
You're scared to go to the website. You're scared to look at the balance. God. You don't even want to understand it. You're just hoping that you're going to put your money here in crypto and it's going to grow faster. And you might not even understand the interest on the student loans. See, but that's where they get you, LJ.
Yep, and they make it all confusing. They'll break up the
kicking the can too with the forgiveness. Like you keep kicking the can, kick the can, kick the can, and then LJ is like, "You're in the can."
Yeah, you're in the can. They don't know they're in the can, though. They don't know.
But that was me though. Like, look, that was me. That's why I know this game. Like what LJ is saying, because that was me.
It was me too, man. It was me too. I'm just, you know what? Honestly, I'm happy to get you guys out of there earlier because at your age, when I was late 20s, early 30s, I knew something was missing, wrong, but I just didn't know, right? So I'm happy to be able to share that knowledge, this unique knowledge with you guys at this young age. Just now, you guys, man.
Yeah,
who knows what you guys
want
to do?
I'm never going back.
You can't go back.
Yeah, it's just no point. Like, yeah, once you're out of it, it's this is the real red pill for real.
Correct. Correct.
Once you get out of that debt matrix, like you don't want to go back.
You can't. There's not a day you're gonna wake up and say, you know what, I'm gonna go back to being a debt slave. That ain't gonna happen,
For real.
But everything you're saying is true though, LJ. Yeah, when you come up out the debt matrix, like you start seeing things totally different. People, time, what they're saying, and it's just fascinating.
Are you more like when you go out and meet women though? Are you more straight up with them now? Just like straight to the point. You know what I'm saying? Just like this is
Well, it makes it even easier to be straight to the point, you
right.
know, because like I was like, you know, you listen to games, stuff like that, like you kind of figure it out, like, oh, okay, you need to be to the point, you need to tell the truth,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then now you add the finance piece, and it's like you really limit at that point,
Right.
because it's like
Right.
certain things that you would maybe like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna sweep that under the rug. Now it's like you can't, because you don't want to have somebody that's going to be a financial risk.
Correct. Especially being biologically tied to somebody like that.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God.
a huge piece. Like you start realizing the consequences of your actions, and like you realize, yeah, you can play with fire for a while, but you don't want to get burnt.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
No,
So
I just because I picture myself with this knowledge in my 30s, and if I was dating and stuff like that, navigation, I guess I wouldn't have been shy anymore to talk to any woman I was attracted to. I would just go up to her and talk to her. You know what I'm saying? And not worried about being shot down, whatever, because I wouldn't care if she didn't
and then
like
the
me or not.
confidence too, LJ, to know that you know
Huh?
this information that's so rare that, and you know, probably like as you're getting to know the person, you can just observe their life to see kind of if they know the information or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
It's very. It only
I'm
takes.
sure you're listening very different now when you listen to women talk to you. I bet you listen
You can
very
see
different.
everything. Like I
Wow.
didn't even watch that show, The Limitless, that you were recommending.
Uh-huh.
Probably gonna watch that tonight, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, like you see everything. You just listen to what they're saying, and it's like, oh, interesting. Interesting. Oh yeah, you know, as soon as you say he was in school, you automatically assume student loan debt.
Yep. For
Oh
sure.
yeah, I'm looking for work. Oh, okay, that means you probably don't have any money. I know, it's a shame. It's like, okay. And look, I was there. It's like, oh yeah, no, it's not even like I was there. Like this is why I understand it so well, and to be on the other side is just
Right.
it's wild.
I bet you that's amazing, man. That's just to have those. I mean, just the whole. I just know for a fact my life would have been very different if I had this knowledge in my younger years. It would have been very different, you know. But I know my time is now, but I could share this knowledge, so you guys don't have to be
Yeah,
in
I
child
think
support
it's just like,
courtrooms.
I don't know. It's like, what is it? You look at risk a little different.
Yeah, it's
You
different.
realize just how cool it is to be debt free, and then like, you know, own yourself, own your time, and it's like you don't want to risk it.
Correct. Correct. That is very correct. You just don't want to waste any
Yeah.
of the time in your
And
life
it's really
at
hard
all.
too, guys. Like we're not saying it's easy, like, you know, especially, you know, you're deep in debt. You just gotta believe you can do it. And what you have to do is you have to increase your income,
Correct.
because once you can start earning bigger chunks, you can start throwing it at the debt. And that's what I think kind of LJ was saying with Dave Ramsey with that debt snowball. Like you can start throwing big chunks of cash at your
Yes.
debt, but you're probably like, well, how do I make more money? That's where the creativity comes in.
Correct. Yeah, that's
You know,
very correct.
network. You know, I would get into sales. You know, anybody listening to my voice right now, like I
Right.
would get into sales. Like I do solar sales, and you know, once you master the art of communication, I mean, that's all sales is transfer of energy. And if you know what you're talking about, you can make a lot of money. Like people don't even realize it.
Plus, you know, as long as they do what they enjoy, that's something that comes natural. You know what I'm saying? You know, I want you guys to figure out what that is, whatever that $1 million thing is going to be. You know what I'm saying? Because you guys have the knowledge now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and another thing, LJ, I noticed like with having the extra time now, like, you know, focused on Dominate Tech, like my software company, like you just feel free. It's like, oh, okay, that's taken care of. Now you can kind of like it almost frees your brain, like not having that stress to be more creative. That's kind of what it is. It's hard to explain, right, LJ? Like we're trying to give people the idea of what it is and why you should be pushing to be debt free.
Correct. No, I get because what I try to do now, and I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna talk about this in the members only this weekend. You know, I try to make sure that there's nothing occupying any space in my brain, like even down to the small thing. Maybe I have to do something around the house and I've been meaning to get to it, right? Oh, I'll get to it tomorrow. Oh, I'll get to it Wednesday. I just go straight to it, do it. Now it's eliminated
You don't
from
got to think
taking up
about
that
it.
space. Now there's more room for creativity.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
And that's another thing too, like with your energy, right? In order to do your business and to create this extra income, you're going to need that extra emotional energy. And, just simple things like having a cleaner environment, making sure you're not hungry, like simple things like people don't even understand, like the simple things. Once you get all that covered, you can have that creative energy, and you're not having these energy drains,
Yeah, and you definitely won't. How are things how are you doing handling people that are energy drainers? Are you cutting them off, or you disconnect from them, or how are you handling that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier to do that these days as you get more independent, and like it becomes easier to kind of cut out the dead weight. You know what I mean? And you could try to help people. You can't save everybody. You know what I
Right,
mean? So
right.
you kind of just accept it. Um,
Now,
that
because I had to, the reason why I'm saying it, because I had to let go of a close friend. He was just draining my energy, right?
Well, a lot of people want to flex. Like
Yeah.
they don't understand that. Oh, okay. Like they think, oh, my credit is this and that, and they try to flex on you. Oh, what's yours? Da da da. And
Right.
then, I think that's what it is. Like once you
Oh.
start seeing through everything, it's just like, I don't want to play that game anymore.
Right, exactly. See you later, bye. And that's what I'm getting to. I've been focusing on just everything around me is a facade, really, right? That's really,
Yes.
it's really
Yes.
hard to accept that sometimes.
Like a lot of times I was back in college, like I would be walking around campus and I would look around, and I couldn't necessarily put my finger on it, but I would just look around at these new buildings and the fresh cut lawn, and it's secure environments, and I would just be thinking to myself, like, this is a walled garden. This is fake. Like, this is,
Right, right, right.
this
That's
is
so
Decision.
funny. That's crazy. You're right.
like
Wow.
like this is a totally artificially cultivated environment.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah, it's incredible too, because like the college environment, especially being on campus, like it is like, you have food on the card. You know what I'm saying? Like you just have a school card. In most places, like you just swipe your card.
and you're surrounded by debt slaves.
Yeah,
And
you're
that's
getting
the
used.
thing.
Yeah, they're
You
getting
are
used to
surrounded
swiping that card.
you are surrounded by
Yeah,
kids.
everybody's your age.
Exactly. And the same
You're
age
right.
as you,
God
and they're already debt
damn.
slaves, bro.
Right.
That is I like the way you put that. You're right. It's a totally fake environment.
Yep.
There's
You get out in
nothing
the
in the
real
real
world and
world that
realize,
looks
oh
like a
shit, I gotta
college
pay for
campus
stuff.
all the time.
Right. And and LJ, I think it is like, people graduate and they see what their people in their family do, and they see what they see on TV, social media, and then they take steps, like, oh, get married, have kids, finance a house. They they just think that's the
Yep.
right path.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that's what everybody does. But are you in position to do that? And a lot of people don't think that far ahead. And then before you know it, you're $200,000 in debt.
Well, I don't know where they made debt slaves, and this includes myself, to where they changed the definition of buy. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
bought a house. I
Right.
don't know what age did they change the definition on me.
Right. Yeah, that's very interesting too. Like that's another thing I noticed too. Like you start to take the financial terms, like you start to analyze the financial terms, like buy, what I mean, finance, lease, like what do these things actually mean? Yeah, so many people don't know what these things actually mean.
They don't.
But the bank does a good job with just, saying what they say, so you hear what you hear. And
like equity, a person who owns a house in cash, they have equity if they decide to go to the bank. Other than that, they just own a house, right?
Correct.
It's just, but the people in debt think they bought a house with a mortgage and believe they have equity.
Yeah, and LJ, they get emotionally attached to it too.
Correct.
Like guys, even in the solar industry, right? I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to put that on my house. Like I hear it all the time. Solar is ugly. And I'm thinking in the back of my head now, after knowing the knowledge, and I'm like, this is not even your house.
Right.
Like, and the electric bill is an expense. So it's
Sure.
like if you
Yeah.
don't get solar, you're going to pay more on the electric, right?
Mhm.
So, but what my point is, like, they're emotionally tied to the house
Correct.
that's not even theirs,
And it's business for the bank.
right? And any
Right.
improvements that you're doing, the bank is like, oh, okay, you're just fixing up our house. We're going to keep you in there until, this is crazy. It's like, and then people they're just like, oh, okay, this is the American dream. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like, they're totally oblivious to it.
Well, they tell you in it, the American dream. You have to be asleep to dream.
And what's crazy is you can live that American dream. I'm not saying you can't, but it's a way to do it. And that's not what's being necessarily
Theirs is a dream.
translated.
Django, you want to say something real quick, man?
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, that whole American dream like archetype, right? You go you go to school, you get a good job,
Yeah.
and you find yourself a woman who's just like you and is in debt because she also went to school and
Yeah.
had to get a job to pay
Yeah.
for those student loans, and
Yeah.
you partner up your debt. You put, you combine your debt, so now you have twice as much under,
Yes.
and it's liable to both of you. And then
And
you
then now
go
you have 3 or 4
get yourself a
kids.
house and a mortgage, and you got some kids that you can't afford to, to pay
Going
for
down, it's
either.
like,
You
I forgot all about the student loans.
You guys, I mean, you guys neither of you guys have kids, right?
No.
See, and I'm saying, like, I'm thinking back, as a debt slave, I had kids while I was in debt. And can you imagine how fast a kid puts you in debt when you're already in debt, man? Oh my God.
Yeah, you need that extra income, for the family, and you want to do things, support your children,
Mhm.
and
And
then
then
like
when they get old enough, then I didn't save money for college. Guess we're gonna do Parent Plus loans, student loans. Oh my God.
yep.
Mm.
And then the cycle just keeps repeating itself.
Yes. It does. Yes, and that's all part of the program, because think about it. I mean, think about it. When I was a kid, I was watching TV just like every other kid. They teach you from a childhood, you ain't gonna be shit unless you go to college. You ain't gonna be shit unless you go to college. You ain't gonna be shit unless you go to college. So naturally, when you get of age, you're gonna go to college with no money.
Yeah.
Still
Oh
don't.
yeah, LJ. Not to switch topics though, but you hear about the electric cars, right? Supposedly they're doing an additional tax in certain places on
Mhm.
people with electric cars.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
I was like, wow, that
Oh, I
was a
knew that
huge
was
slap in
coming.
the face.
You
Oh
think
yeah,
they're
get
just
this
gonna?
electric
You think they're
vehicle.
just
You're
gonna
gonna
take a
save
cut?
money on gas.
You think they're gonna take a cut? They just
Now
if
that
people use less
now
gas,
that
they're
gas
gonna
is
just
going
tax
up,
the
right?
electricity.
Now that gas is going up, they're like, you know what? We're just going to tax the people with electric cars.
Mm, mm, mm.
Oh man.
When it
And
really
like you were
don't
saying,
matter.
like with the auto drive, right? So, I think you were like, it's like an extra $10,000 to get like the auto drive.
Oh yeah.
So, you're just stacking on that loan amount.
Can you imagine what Elon did? He said by the flip of a switch, he makes $10,000. Just turn something on that's already built in the
Yep,
car.
already built in.
God.
One button.
And I've been meaning to find this out. Does that upgrade, once that happens to the car, is it on, or does that go with the user? Like
I'm not
if the guy sells the car, do they take off the auto drive? You know what I'm saying?
They take off a piece, right?
Do they remove, like they upgraded the auto drive, they just flip a switch, right? For the
Right.
owner who paid for it, right? So say like he sells the car. I want to know if the auto drive goes with the car's
Oh
buyer
yeah.
or the
Well,
car
that's
itself.
when he gets to the point of paying it off. And at that point, you're probably gonna need a new battery anyway. You're probably not gonna have the cash for it. You're gonna finance.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's very interesting, this whole thing.
I love
Like,
it.
and then once you figure out, like, okay, I need cash for everything, that puts it in a different perspective. You start
Correct.
like your brain starts focusing on not just, what can I do to get a higher credit score so I can finance things, to how can I stack my money to get the things that I actually desire.
Correct. It's amazing how your mind kicks in overdrive on making that happen. And right away, the only thing that's going to get me that is a successful business, period.
Facts, LJ. It's like it's what I think is most fascinating about you, LJ, is that you've simplified this whole thing. and put in terms that people can understand.
But
Like,
for
it's
people that
fascinating.
can hear it, I mean, it's you already have to possess something in your mind for you guys to even have heard or hear what I was saying, right? You guys
Facts.
already had possessed of the awareness of it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that to be kind of like the kind of thing that you were already inclined to have the mindset of
Mm-hmm.
staying away from it. Like, you probably either grew up thinking like debt was something to avoid, like debt was something to minimize, or something to like handle really, really strategically if you ever got into debt, or at least in my situation. And so by the time that I had actually gone ahead and tried out, okay, well, let me get into this credit game, but never having been exposed to this concept of like the debt matrix, or the difference between like business and personal, and risk uh, excuse me, asset protection, all of these different concepts. Then if you never had that, then you're just going to be walking like a zombie, like sleepwalking, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so the way that you put it was kind of like a wake up call. Like, you might think that you're doing this the right way, but actually, no, you're actually fucking up.
Yeah, it's just crazy how like far people go and how complicated they think it has to be. Like, even what you're saying, like with the asset protection, like people are studying all these advanced things when they didn't even like analyze the arithmetic of just getting out of debt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because, and I really believe that's what it is. It's like people believe that their investments are going to increase faster than the interest on the debt. And my thing is, if you're not tracking that meticulously, how are you betting on that? How are you certain that that is actually happening? You know, because life happens too, right? Something comes up, you got to pay for it. Like, how did that affect your whole portfolio of investments and in combination with your debt? Like, if you're not tracking that with some sort of computer or something, it's like you could be taking unnecessary risk and getting
Right.
yourself deeper in the hole, when if you just focused on getting out of the hole, now at least now you're not going down, you can just focus on going up.
Right. And one thing that is also so important is also like the difference between different types of interest, like variable interest versus fixed interest. Like, if you don't know, like if you thought that you signed up for a fixed interest loan, but you actually got a variable interest loan, bro, like the Federal Reserve is your god, bro. Like, you are at the mercy of
So which
whatever
one's
they
worse?
set
Which
those
one's
interest
worse,
rates.
the variable or the fixed?
Well, in the debt matrix, right, you would want to have a fixed interest that's really, really low over a long amount of time, because it would inflation would work against it. But if you have a variable interest, right, the Federal Reserve raises interest rates to fight inflation. Okay, and so if they raise your interest rates, that means that your minimum payment just went up. Like, the Federal Reserve rate for the past few years was supposed to be like 25%. So if you got a loan, 0.25%, all right, 0.25%. So if you got a loan that was fixed within the past like 3 years, you got a really cheap loan, okay? But
Right.
if it was variable, they just went from 0.25% to 0.75%.
And is that
That's
on the real
3
estate
times.
market? If that's a variable interest rate on the real
That's
estate?
mortgages,
Mm-hmm.
that's business loans, that because
Mm-hmm.
the Federal Reserve is the bank's bank. Okay. So whatever interest that the banks charge you, they're charging that to you because they need to pay for the money that they're borrowing from the Federal Reserve. You understand? So
Right.
so whatever they got to pay the Federal Reserve, they got to charge you plus money on top of that so they can be profitable. Right. And because that's a number that is that shifts depending on whatever the Federal Reserve policy is, basically whatever administration is in office, you are at the whims of you know, you got your
Yeah, big
finances at
fact.
the whims of the government. Basically, you got your mortgage is at the whims of who's ever Fed chairman. or how the economy's doing, man.
Well, you got to remember the central bank is separate from the government. Central bank is a privately owned business, right?
True. It's privately owned, and we get like the president appoints one chairman.
Well, that's the board. That's the board.
Onto the board, exactly, onto the board of governors. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true.
Oh yeah. By the way, LJ, they did start that 24-hour delivery.
Oh, they did.
Talking about that, yeah. Like, I've been shopping on Amazon a lot lately. Like, you can get stuff delivered like 4 a.m.
See, I told you, I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming.
We were dropping off packages. Like,
I knew it was coming.
24/7.
And guess who's doing those 3 a.m. drop-offs? People with student loan debt. That's why they're holding it. Maybe they're waiting for 24-hour delivery, and then they're gonna kick in the student loans, and then they're gonna be doing those jobs to pay for those student loans.
But yeah, that was another thing about the student loans. Like, you really enlightened me on that. Like, because like, with the Joe Biden thing and like saying that like, he actually gave people a huge gift to pay off their student loans with like interest free.
Yeah, man.
That was a huge insight. I didn't even see that until they said it. Like,
that was a big deal. And so many people did not take advantage of that opportunity.
And see what it took for them to do that? A worldwide pandemic. That's why it's never going to happen.
The world had to stop. The world had to stop.
Had to stop. That's why that's never going to happen again, at least in our lifetime. At least I'm gonna be a very, very old man. If at least you guys will still have some brain cells to comprehend what's happening to change.
So the Django Geek, I got a question for you. How much of the student loan debt do you think they're going to forgive?
Oh man, so if they're going to forgive any, because I was following this a little while back, and apparently they're gonna do what's called a means test, which means they're going to only apply that policy to certain segments of the population. And what got done so far is I think that they did, maybe $10,000 of student loan debt forgiveness for veterans. All right. Or people who were, I think it was veterans and people who got some sort of degree. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it was like public service or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. Public service. Some sort of public service. And the point is,
after that though, let's say, most people have like what, 30, 40, 50,000. Like,
exactly. Yeah. And exactly. The point is that it's only going to apply to a certain section of the population.
Then what? Like, it's like, all right, here's 10,000. Like, then what? Still got 40. Still got 30. Still got.
It's a negative number.
That's why. See, that's why that's a psychological trick. It doesn't matter if they forgive. Say, like the president said, "Hey, I'm gonna forgive $20,000." They're not gonna have the money to pay off the rest. So,
but what happens if you paid it all off? Like, what happens if, like, all right, let's say they're like, okay, in a week we're gonna pay off. We're gonna give everybody 10,000. Now, what happens if a week before that you pay 10,000? Then what?
Say that again.
Like, let's say that in a month or two, they're like, okay, everybody in student loan debt is going to get $10,000 decrease. Now, but what happens if the week before you pay 10,000, like towards your student loans? Then what? Are they going to give you the money back?
I mean, it would just go on to the balance. Yeah, just go on to whatever balance is left.
Then you pay 20,000. You pay 20.
So what happens if like you paid it all off in a month, and then like 2 months later they're just like, okay, we're going to give student loan forgiveness. Are they going to give you the money back?
Yeah. Probably what is one of two things would happen in a case like that, in my opinion, right? In my opinion, either it would have been in such a way that those student loan forgiveness checks would have not really been checks. They would have been credits to the bank, right? Or whoever holds that debt. Okay. And so if you didn't have a balance, you weren't getting any student loan forgiveness.
So essentially you're getting penalized. Like, you're getting penalized though. Like,
right.
Let's say you get out of debt.
That's one case. So that's one case is that
everybody who paid off student loans is technically getting penalized.
Right. And so the only other situation is that if it's just a blank check that they actually did give, like a stimulus, right?
I'm thinking that maybe they just give it to you in Bitcoin or something. They're like,
that would, what they all they would have to do to make themselves look good though. This is all they have to do. All they have to do is say, hey, we're gonna pay, even though this will never happen. Okay, I'm just talking out loud. This is never gonna happen. Student loan forgiveness is never gonna happen. But anyway, so like they said, all right, we're gonna pay off 20,000. We're gonna send you a check to pay your student loan debt. None of that. Okay, so in other words, they're gonna do their part But they know you ain't gonna pay off the student loan debt with it. They know you're not.
Well, you're gonna go buy a car.
They're gonna go buy a car.
Yeah,
They're gonna go finance something. It's a win-win. Hey, we forgave $20,000 in student loan debt. Now
Like,
what?
let's say somebody has $10,000
We gave out
left,
student loan
right?
checks and the debt didn't
Wait,
drop by
let's
a
check it out. Let's say they have $10,000 left, right? Federal government's like, all right, we're going to give you, we're going to give you 10,000, right? Like, as soon as they get out of debt, they're just going to finance something else,
Correct.
like, with the extra money.
Correct.
So it's very strange, like when I'm watching it. Like, that's what LJ says. It's like he's in a stadium with his popcorn, like he's just watching from the stands, like trying to see what's about to happen.
Yeah, I feel the same way, bro.
Because
just think about it right now. The pause. You think about their mentality. The pause made them feel like they had extra money at the end of the month because there were no payments, when that is not true.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they're just basically telling you what they would do if you gave them a check, or if they forgave some student loan debt. They would just go and just get deeper in debt. That's what they do.
Yeah, that's what's so strange about it. Because it's like, okay, let's say they're going to do 60,000, like something big like that. Oh, we're going to do 60,000. Like, okay, so let's say that a few people get debt free. If they don't know the information, they're still going to get deeper in debt.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, and it's supposed to be, that way. The majority must be in debt. That's why they're never going to forget student loans. That's how debt slaves are created. People don't really want to accept that. That's how debt slaves are created. They start you at a young age. You're a debt slave your entire life. Of course, you're not going to have any money for college, right? So you're going to get student loan debt, and then once you get it, then now you're owned for the rest of your life. That's how they legally create.
Yeah, now you got to fight for a job to pay it off.
Correct.
And that's if you wake up, you realize that you just start fighting harder, to get that position or whatnot, and you jump through the hoops,
all that bullshit.
And that's before you wake up. When you wake up, now you're really jumping through hoops. Now you're really
all that corporate ladder bullshit. All of it's bullshit. All of it. I did it all too. I did it all. I kept my student loans for 10 years. I'm just
8 years for me. Yeah, so for all the people listening, like, we laugh and joke about this, but like we've been there, been in debt.
How long did you keep yours, Prince?
Yeah, I kept mine 8 years, LJ.
8. Okay. I got 2 years on you.
Yeah, man. And it would have probably been longer if I didn't find SMD. That's for sure.
Finance what?
SMD.
If you didn't find SMD.
Yeah, if I didn't find SMD.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, man. I'm glad to be able to do that. Somebody had to be with you, drop 40 G's like that. Wow.
Yeah, it was scary. I'm not gonna lie.
But you're free though. You own yourself now though. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's facts.
Now, see, what they don't understand is that our credit reports that's our passport through the navigation through psychological capitalism, right?
Yes, sir.
We just pull out the credit report and say, look, I own myself. There's nothing on it. Okay, you can come on in. That's the passport. Debt slaves don't know that.
LJ had me cracking up. Like, I was listening to a stream, right? And LJ was like, the IRS just doesn't come just bust down your door. Like, they give you a few warnings. Like, well before they come bust down your door.
Correct.
But that's another thing too. Like, with the taxes thing, like, especially after you get out of debt, it's like now you're super aware to anything that could put you in debt. And if you don't pay your taxes, they'll levy your accounts.
Yeah. But once you're out of debt, you know how taxes really work. So you wouldn't even allow that to happen anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's
the backbone of the system, like you were saying, LJ. Because if they didn't force people to play,
nobody would play.
They wouldn't.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And then like what you were saying too, you start looking at what's the time. What are the penalties for these types of things? Like you just gain a whole awareness because you're like, okay, what are the things that can put me back in debt?
Right.
Like, what are the things that can drag me back to the debt matrix? And you start to see all types of things. And
that's in the forefront now. I mean, that's like automatic.
Because it takes so much awareness to get out of it. Like the force of the debt matrix is so strong to begin with, where in order to break it, you have to have that certain type of awareness. And then as soon as you come out of it, it's not like the awareness goes away.
Right.
Now it's almost like a defense mechanism to block anything that could take away the time in your life.
Correct. That's in the forefront. That's just like an automatic. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I remember one time, what did we say? I was somewhere. Somebody got a ticket. Somewhere, man, I'm gonna fight this ticket. I said, how much is the ticket? $50. I said, you're gonna take off work. And then you gonna schedule to go down to court.
Yep, you're
Fight
gonna
a
wait in line.
$50 ticket. I said, how much?
Yep.
I said to him, I said, that's how much your time is worth? $50.
Right? You're gonna watch a whole bunch of cases.
wait for you to be called. You
Yep.
can get there at 9. You probably won't get called till 1. Oh hell no! Here, take this.
Yep.
50. Take it.
Yep, and that's why the system keeps going, LJ. But
oh man, all right, man, we're about to wrap this up, man. This is a good conversation, man.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
we got to
I
jump
really
up
enjoyed
here.
this.
yeah, I got to test the mic out, LJ. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I
Gotta
like your
test the
setup,
camera
man.
out.
That looks nice, man.
Yeah, that's a good setup, bro. Like,
Yeah, thank you. But I appreciate you guys too. The whole SMD family, LJ, salute. Django Geek, salute. But I'll see you guys on the next one. Okay, LJ? Thank you.
Cool, man.
All right.
Appreciate you, LJ.
All right, man. Thank you for jumping up, Django.
Yep.
Man, I appreciate you guys all, man. I really do. Especially, like I said, the younger generation, man. I'm excited to see where you guys gonna take this gift, and man, what you guys gonna do with it. When you guys become millionaires, billionaires, because there's no limit. Because you guys now understand there's phantom income. You understand you do your tax. That's understanding the system means understanding taxes. Period. And trust me. I mean, I want you guys to think about it. The way we do our taxes, like we're still learning. We're still new to the side, so you're going to get better and better and better, right? You got to remember. Obviously, the IRS is going to know at that moment that because you are doing it all the correct way. Because you got to remember, they could see everything. Okay, they got the keys to see everything. That's part of the whole structure of the whole psychological capitalism. They got the keys and your social security number. Would they give you this number when you're born and say, hey, this is your ID number to walk around through the United States of America. This number belongs to you. So they got the keys to see everything. And once they see once you understand psychological capitalism, they are going to clearly see by the way you do your taxes that you understand that capitalism is psychological. They're going to know. They're going to be like, okay, nobody does that. Then they're going to look at your credit report, clearly see nobody owns you. They're going to see things that they don't normally see. So they're going to know right away. And it's so funny, just like you said, the feds are watching. When you understand capitalism, it's psychological. Who cares if you're doing everything, especially the way we are going to do it? Like, you don't care if they're watching. Hey, you can look. I'm doing according to the guidelines that you guys wrote up on the website. So I hired somebody to read you guys stuff to go by that, period. So who cares if they're watching? You know what I'm saying? Because once they see the way you guys are going to do, especially the SB family dudes, they're going to know that they're going to know that, first of all, people that do things like this, they're not going to risk the time in their life trying to cheat the IRS. They're just not going to do that because you'll know that currency is psychological. So you're not going to risk the time in your life for for money that doesn't even really exist. Are you crazy? No, I'm not. No. And this, and I'm gonna get off of here. And with this superpower, you guys got to remember, you can now go to any country in the world that is capitalist and become rich there and become wealthy because it's all the same. Of course, when you go to other countries, things that their version of capitalism is going to be slightly tweaked or whatever, but the basis of it's going to be all the same. When you get there, the majority of the people there are going to be in debt and not know it, period. That's how it's going to work. They're going to have some kind of tax structure, some kind of legal structure, same thing that we have, but just slightly different rules and laws, but it's still going to be the same thing. All right, man, I'm out of here. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Much appreciated. And like I said, members only, be looking for a live this weekend. Okay. All right. Kind of give you some insight of what I've been talking about and going through with my own personally. All right. You guys have a good one.